How y'all doing? Welcome back to All Things Quintessential channel. Thank you so much for your love, for your support, for subscribing, for liking, for commenting. Yay! Thank you for watching this video and also sharing and recommending as well. Okay, so today's video is sequel to the last one we did about wholesome family practice. That's a successful family tips and guide. Today we're going to be looking at the part 2. Okay, it's just like a continuation. All right, so we talked about family as a smallest and integral part of the society, and we looked into child rearing and effective family practices that has turned out effective. Okay, so we're gonna be continuing with the same topics but with more points today. Okay, so I'm just gonna head straight to it without stalling for more time. The first tip today is let your word be your bound. Okay, because these kids are watching, remember. So while it's okay to instill all those morals, all those norms, and discipline, let your word also be your bond. Don't be a teacher who doesn't really practice what she teaches, right? So as you're telling them to be good, do this, the kids needs to see you replicating the same in your life. For example, you prohibit the kids from watching some certain movies, from using some certain words and stuff. Yes, good job, kudos. But do those kids end up hearing such words from you? Do those kids see you watching those movies, for example? Then it's not gonna make sense to them. It's gonna be so confusing, believe me, right? So your word should be your bound. Let your yes be yes, and let your no be no. If this is not good for them, yes, I know that this could be tricky because there are some things that adults can do, and the kids cannot do. I totally understand that, but there are still some things you don't want to I'm not saying you shouldn't watch your movies, for example, but you should know the timings for that, because the kids might actually understand that, and you don't want to keep explaining every time. Okay, there are some things that when they know this is not good, they need to also know or see you doing those things that is good, so that they will be able to understand, right? In a nutshell, the kids learn by seeing you practice what you tell them, right? Now the next one is don't correct your partner in the presence of the kids. We all make such mistakes, including me. I'm guilty, yeah. So but I'm working on it. Okay, sometimes you might not even know when you do it. Yeah, it's not like you purposely want to do that. The kids shouldn't notice you trying to correct, say, the other parent or the other half. No, they need to know there's some certain level of respect and agreement and decorum and understanding among you. That way, between you rather, that way the child will be able to know that yes, we are all working together, right? They don't want to see daddy, for example, tell them this and then mommy says another thing. Okay, no matter how you're tempted to correct each other, don't do so when the kids are watching. You can make a quiet time. That's basically one of the things you discuss in the other room. If you know what I mean. Okay, just find time, discuss about those things, and don't let the kids see you guys correcting each other, right? It might raise some sort of confusion in their head, right? Now another point as well would be these kids are so intelligent. They are so intelligent. Don't be the weak link or the easy link. Sometimes they know this is prohibited. They know maybe they can't have their iPads or they can't play with their toys till they are done with homework, right? Now, because you want to be the best or loving or understanding parent, you just let them have their way, right? They already know that you can't go and play without doing your assignments or homework after school, right? But when you are around, they tend to try to, wiggle their way out of the whole thing. You really need to stand firm. Don't be the weak link. If that is the house rules, or if that is the do's and don'ts of the house, my second does that sometimes. She would come to me knowing the dad is more of the disciplinarian, right? I'm also the disciplinarian. Don't forget that I am. But sometimes I just try to, in a bit, to draw them close. Let's draw them close. Let it not be always correcting. You get what I mean? Let's just balance it out. Sometimes they mistake it for me being the weak link. So if they know what they're supposed to do, they will want to come to me and like, mommy, can we do this? And I'm like, what I now ask is, what did your daddy say? Okay. And my husband, when they want to do the same too to my husband, they'll say, and what did mommy say about that? And they're like, oh my, these guys, they're actually in agreement. And you see them doing the right thing. So don't be the weak or the easy link because you want to appear as the best parents, right? So it's not a trophy. Nobody's competing for that. We just want to help nurture and groom this lovely humans, okay, in the right way. Okay. Now another thing would also be, don't make the kids take sides. It almost looks like this previous point. Don't make them take sides. Okay, it's so bad sometimes. When some issues go on in the house, the kids tend to gravitate towards, say, the one they like the most, if there's anything like that. Don't make them choose sides. Don't paint the other party or the other partner as the black sheep of the family, maybe because they're trying to instill some certain normal and good discipline. Okay, don't make them choose sides. Say maybe there is argument in the house. Most times we women, we could be guilty of that. Yes, yeah, sometimes we can be guilty of that. So let's desist from doing that. Okay, the kids would normally gravitate towards the mom because the mom could be emotional and stuff. They don't want to see mom complain. They don't want to see mom sad. They don't want to see mom sad. Not most times the dads as well, but usually, maybe because women were the emotional beings and stuff, they tend to like, no, they are so protective of us. Okay, no matter what, don't use that to your advantage and try to make them take sides, right? We are not competing. Remember, we are all working together as a unit, a harmonized and synergized unit, right? We are not, it's not a competition. So don't make the kids take sides. Yeah. Then another thing as well would be, that's also a mistake most times we make unknowingly. Don't compare the kids. Just like I said previously in the first post, it's easy for you to be drawn to the obedient child. It's so easy. It makes it easy for you to love the calm, lovely, yes mom, obedient child than the rebellious one. It's so easy. But another thing I've noticed is each child have their unique traits. They have their unique qualities. They are always also good in one way or the other. Maybe not good, their area of strength most times differs. Yes, because no two individuals are the same, right? So don't try to compare them. This brings about most times sibling rivalry. They comparing them makes them feel they are competing with one another. They really need to compete for mom's attention or for dad's attention or for your attention. So for them to do that, it's like you putting pressure on them. I understand. Say, for example, in academics, if one is doing more than the other, most definitely it's so easy for you to say, can't you see how she's doing? Can't you see how your brother or your sister is? Can't you level up? I always pray for grace and strength never to do that, because you might not know what you're doing, but you're setting the tone for competition, and sibling rivalry could be very, very bad. It's like you are planting that seed of discord between siblings without even knowing it. Growing up, they feel it is competition. Sometimes they even tend to hate each other. They feel you are the one always getting the attentions and stuff. So no matter how tempting it is, don't. I'm also learning. Remember, me saying these things doesn't mean I know it all. I'm learning. I'm learning. I go back to these videos and I learn. They are my go-to, honestly. So another point would also be don't cover or shy away from questions. I remember growing up, there are some questions you dare not ask if you love your head or your chin, because you should, there are some questions you dare not ask your parents, especially on the sex education part. You dare not. You dare not. I don't know, our parents maybe being sanctimonious, or maybe they don't want you to learn those things from them. They don't want you to see them in certain kind of ways, you know. You dare not. You know what I'm talking about, right? So this generation, this Gen Z generation, is totally different. Okay, they would go find it out for themselves. You see the social media, you see everything. It's the computer age, and you see their peers. Imagine if a child comes to you asking you about some question, no matter how nonsensical. Try to give your child the right perspective of that story. That way, you control the narrative. Right? If, for example, she comes to you asking you, what is this part of my body? What is reproduction? What is sex? Don't shy away, because you would be able that time to instill in the child the right and the correct form of knowledge regarding that topic. You wouldn't want to leave that in the hands of our peers or social media or the internet, because they would, they are inquisitive in nature. They will always get there to get those answers, right? So try to tell them that way. Like I said before, you get to control the narrative. If they now go out there and they are being presented with something else, say from the internet or from their peers, they are like, no, that's not what my mom or my dad told me. No, this is what it is. And if you're trying to educate them, since if you're grooming them in the ways of God, which you should, by all means, right? You point places, you give them citations, you give them examples, say in the Bible, you try to even give them example with your own life. Nothing convinces the kids like that. So when you try to explain those things to them, don't like, come on, don't ask me, you shut up or something like that. They will just cower, they will shy away. But that question needs to be answered. And of course, you wouldn't like the reply they will get from the peers because you don't even know the peers, what the narrative or the perspective of that question the parents are instilling on those kids. Imagine if it's the wrong one and you left out educating your child on that, and she goes out there and picks up that wrong narrative. So we wouldn't want that. Then another thing too would be, don't provoke your kids. Don't. It's also in the Bible. Parents, don't provoke your kids. Kids, honor your parents and stuff. Don't poke them. Don't make jest of them. Don't, I don't know, don't bring out, should I say, the demons in them. Don't push them. Okay? Don't try as much as possible not to provoke them. It happens sometimes. You hear some things or you see some things. Parents, they try to provoke the kids, and when you provoke the kids or your children, it pulls them away from you. They even sometimes it say things that they never intended to say. Know your place as well. They are still human beings. Remember, especially the teenagers or the adults, they are growing, right? They also have their perspective. Sometimes you respect them, hear them out, and then offer your own suggestion. I'm talking about the teenagers now and stuff. So don't provoke them, please. Another thing as well would be, learn to be apologetic and remorseful when you're wrong. Okay. Growing up is so hard for you to see parents apologizing, but honestly, if you bring that in this present day, it's gonna be so detrimental. If you're wrong, say, my kids correct me all the time. I'm like, oh, so sorry. I thought that's what it is. And they're like, oh, mommy, we just laugh about it. I'm like, oh, so sorry, guys, and I try to learn from them as well. So don't be the autocratic detector, right? No one tells you anything, you don't, you're also setting the pace or setting the tone on how they behave. Remember, one day they will all leave your side, or they would go to their respective homes. They are learning. You're like their mirror, you're like their role model. Okay, you're also teaching them how to treat their spouses or partners, right? So it's something we really really need to watch and guard against. When you're wrong and you notice you're wrong, you don't act it out. Like, sometimes we know our parents are apologizing to us those days when maybe they suddenly say they suddenly buy you gifts, or they try to give you more pieces of meat or stuff. Gone are those days. The kids these days, the Gen Z generation, they are so intelligent. You can't play with them, right? So try to be apologetic in a good way and let them know that you're truly apologetic and remorseful, right? So it goes a long way to shape them as well. Also, another thing would be another point. Looking at it here. There's something in a nutshell, right? In as much as parents, we want to give our kids what we never had. We want to, make them okay, avail them the opportunities, or or whatever we never had. We also need to watch it. That could lead to, say, laziness in some kids when they become adults, if not possible. Take, for example, if, say, you didn't have much of attention growing up. Say you didn't have much of the resources or the things you needed growing up. When you have your kids and you're opportune and blessed to have money, you're like, I'm gonna spoil them, I'm gonna do this, all the things I lacked and stuff. I want you to remember one important thing. Don't forget that those things were part of what formed you, what formed your decision, what formed your aspirations and goals, the strive to be a better person, to make it. So sometimes also leave the space for the kids to do some things on their own. Let them also try as much as possible. I know it's not easy, yeah, right. I'm not saying you should make them suffer for them to know what you passed through, no, but you need the grace of God to know when to not overdo it. Let the child also learn from some of the things. Also make the child know, so that they will be appreciative of even the littlest thing, and they will want to strive on their own regardless of whatever you've heaped up for them in terms of wealth. They want to discover, right, their potentials and stuff. They want to go out there, right? So let's it's something we should guard against. And I just hope with these tips you would be able to do parenting effectively. Okay, thank you so much for sticking around, and do have a good day. Bye.